Welcome to the first Models for Heroes build. It's the RX-78-2 Gundam. And as before mentioned, it's no paint, no glue and no tools needed. So we'll just unpack, take out the screws and the instructions. Put the instructions to the side. Unpack the screws. And we're going to start with the torso, which is the blue section. And we need to include this infill from the yellow section. And there's minimal cleanup required, just enough to make pieces fit together smoothly. And this bit simply slips into place and locks with a push fit. Like so. The next part is the arm pivot points, and this is sandwiched between the two blue torso sections. And can be quite fiddly to put in place, but once it's in, it's secure. And then we can just go ahead and sandwich the two pieces together and locking in place the arm pivots. Can be a bit of a fiddly process, but once you get there, you can get the two sides together and the arm pivots will be held securely in place. And once you're happy with that part done, we can continue with the next parts, which is the neck plate. And the two side ribcage sections. All these simply push fit onto the torso section that we've just built. The neck plate sits on the top. And just pushes into place. And a rib section goes on each side. Again, just fitted into place, and push fitted. And once that's done, we can move on to the next section, which is the jetpack. Starting with this outer frame and the jetpack body. And that just simply slots into place for one unit. And then that fits onto the back of the torso. Again, this is all push fit. And that's the torso completed. We can now move on to the head. We need this tiny red bit, which is inlay, and the front of the head section. We need the sticker for the eyes, and that sits on the red inlay. And you'll see a ridge where the sticker goes. Make sure that you get it on the right side, right. Make sure you get it the right way round so the eyes are correct. Once you're happy with the sticker, you can place the inlay inside the faceplate. We can take the back section of the head and put that onto the faceplate. And there's also a decorative piece that goes on as well. So we could just put that together. And that has a red cap. There's a recessed slot on the back to allow it to fit to the V section. And the whole thing fits to the front of the faceplate. I did actually use some super glue here because once I had the V section fitted, the red cap just didn't want to stay on. So I just used a little drop of super glue just to lock it all in place. And after some to and fro-in, finally got it into place and just secured it using the super glue. So that's the head done. And the next step is the arms. They have articulated hands and articulated elbows. And when putting in the joint pieces, it's important to get them in the correct orientation. So take close attention to the instructions. And the joints just fit over a peg. Like so. And then they're sandwiched into place with the other side. Like that. And that's the elbow joint. So do the same with the upper arm pieces. And it's a repeat of the previous step, just putting the peg through the hole and sandwiching it in place. And that's the upper and lower arm. You can see it's articulated at the elbow. And we just need to add the shoulder piece. That's simply just a push fit ball and socket joint. Don't really need to worry about getting it orientated because it will spin around when it's fitted. And now fit in the hand. And there we have the completed arm. And it's just a case of repeating that whole process for the other arm. And once you've got both arms sorted out and completed, you can start to put the parts together. The arms go into the pivot points that we fitted into the torso at the beginning, and the head sits on a post on top of the neck. And it's starting to look like a distinct figure now. And we can move on to the waist and the legs. So we'll put that to one side, out of the way. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start with the feet. There's 5 pieces to the feet. There's the upper foot. There's an articulation joint that goes in the bottom. And that's orientated, so there's a semicircle that goes towards the bottom, facing forwards, and a ball socket joint that faces upwards, that takes the shin. Just make sure that's placed in properly. And then the sole of the foot is the next piece to go on. And that will hold the articulating joint in place. Just make sure that's firmly put together. And then there's a two-piece band that goes across the ankle. And it fits in holes on either side, and then there's a peg and a hole where the band joins, just to position it. Make sure that's in place. And that's the foot section completed. Move on to the shin and the thigh. And there's another articulation joint at the knee. So again, make sure that you orientate that correctly. Next, you want to take the thigh pieces. And again, and these go together. And the knee joint slots into place, like so. And then the ball joint at the bottom can go into the articulation joint on the foot. And that's the leg complete. You can see it's fully articulated. And now we just need to repeat that for the other leg. Once you've got both legs done, we can then move on to the waist to join the legs to the body. And for that, we need to use the final yellow inlay. And the front waist plate. And the inlay just slots into place. We can take the You can take the pelvic joint and that simply fits onto the legs like that. And the front and the rear waistband come together around the pelvic joint. And then it's simply a case of fitting the body to the waist plates, and that's the figure completed. All the articulated joints work as they should, and it's freestanding. And if we add his gun, which can go in either hand, and there we go, completed model. So I hope you've enjoyed the first in the Models for Heroes series. It's a bit of a diversion from what I normally do, but I enjoyed it immensely, and it was a very interesting kit to put together, and it wasn't too difficult. And as you can see, the finished model looks quite good on display. And so now let's look at what we're going to be doing next time. So we've now got the Cybertron 2000 up, and going to press the button and see which model we're going to be doing next in the series. So here we go. Scale from Airfix, and that's the 1973 model, so I'm quite looking forward to that one. So join me next time. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and please go along to Models for Heroes if you think that they can offer you anything, and please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.